Hello again, everybody. It's Harry Boxer, the Technical Trader at thetechtrader.com. It's Saturday morning, the 21st of January. This is the weekend webinar, and an important one it is. Last week was a pretty solid bounce. They got to resistance in many cases. If you take a look at the S&P 500, after a year-long decline that saw a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave, Elliott wave type decline and a massive reversal, it saw the this index go from 48.18 to 34.93, more than 1,300 points, and then reverse and run back up, double top in the 41.25 zone, 4,100 actually, and then the pullback, they got it down under 3,800. But you can see what may be forming here. This looks like a 5-wave advance, followed by a little bit of a pullback in wave 2, and wave 3 may be starting. If wave 3 is starting, and this is a 1, 2 underway, then 3, 4, and 5 might ensue and might get you to 4,300. Where there's a double top, but that would mean a clean breakout of the declining top side, which has not yet been taken out. Keep an eye on that. The NASDAQ 100, a little weaker, still in a massive decline, but it is at least forming what looks like a triple bottom base type pattern with key triple top resistance at 12,150, 60 zone up there. We get through this declining top line for starters. It would be important to take out, obviously, 12,150, 570 zone. Then your targets at 12,4, 12,7, etc. But you can see NASDAQ isn't quite leading the way yet. We'll see what happens. The small cap index, this is one that has already taken out what looks like a declining top line. Got up to a triple, quadruple top resistance near 189, and then pulled back to test the moving averages, which it did successfully on Thursday. Friday was a solid day, moving 5 points. A gain of 1.8% on Friday. So that's going to be key support right now, about 180 on the IWM. A move to 189, 9.5 might get you back to 200, 202 with the next key resistance level lies, but that would be an important reversal. This might be a V bottom with a double bottom, and then right hand extended about a 0.618 fib retracement, and now move back up again towards resistance. So we'll have to see what we got going. We can get over 189.90 on small caps. That won't be a bad thing. Transportation index also got up to the declining top line after a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave decline, which saw a move from 18 to 12,000, about a third loss. Then a recovery from 11.94 all the way up to 14, almost 14.8. Nice recovery, and then a fib retracement about 50% for the bounce. Now it did test on Wednesday this triple top and then pull back. Once again, holding the moving averages, which now, for me, 14,000 is key support for the Dow Jones 20 Transportation Index. So looking promising. We got a lot of V bottoms or right-hand extensions. If we can get a move, you can see how this one should be back up to about 15.4, 15.6 zone, at least for the next test on a 1, 2, 3 at the very least. The underlying technicals not showing much. The oscillator got down quite heavily down towards 1 last month in December to 1, looks like about 171. That wasn't extremely, but oversold enough to create a rally. We certainly got that, get up to plus 205. Then it came down near neutral at minus 28 and bounced sharply on Friday alone, moving from under minus 23 to plus 66, almost a 100-point move. About a 90-point move, still a very solid rebound session. Could mean we are going to test some higher levels. Percentage of stocks above their 40 dramatically improved as well, from about 25% to about 73%. And after pulling back, it bounced again on Friday, and you can see that almost 7 out of 10 stocks are above their 40. This V bottom with a platform augurs well for maybe more upside, but historically, since this is an oscillator type index, getting anywhere near 90 to 100 is extremely overbought. Meanwhile, the VIX just isn't signaling much, although it got down to the lowest reading we've seen in a year and bounced. It's still at the lower end of the range, not signaling any extreme negativity, that's for sure. Not yet anyway. But it might be signaling that the market is extended. Nevertheless, one of the reasons why I do what I do is to show you all the charts that are moving, and there are hundreds of them that are breaking out and moving and broken through the declining top signs, etc. I found it very difficult today to narrow the list down, but it's a longer list than usual, but it's still a narrow list. Quite a few, dozens and dozens and dozens of stocks are in bullish looking mode for me. Okay, now some of the components and why I'm more bullish than I have been in a while. If you look at Apple, after coming down dramatically, it tests some key support in this zone here. It bounced dramatically, but it is at resistance. This is key. If we can get over 140 and then take out 144, that's the number where the declining top line comes in. Should lead to 151 and even 156.7 up here, where there's some key resistance. Longer term, 165 is a resistance level as well. But first things first, let's get through the declining top line. We haven't done that yet. Amazon, also promising, came down, bounced. Notice the moving averages are crossing over. Usually when a stock reverses a trend, it'll do that. It'll come back and test and then go. Watch Amazon going forward to 99.5. I think you're going to see 106.7 to test this area where there's a gap. For starters, in Amazon. Also wanted to note that Apple's moving averages are beginning to, they're definitely curling up and beginning to cross over as well. The support from last week is 133 3/4. Google, what a move on Friday. Look at that spike up. That spike up took out the short-term declining top sign, but it did not take out the longer one, which is going to take a move from me across 101.2 zone. Lateral price resistance also exists at 102.5, so getting through that zone would be key for this stock. Above 105, you're on your way, and this is a bottoming pattern. V-bottom, platform, pullback retest, hold, that's a key zone down here, and then spike up, particularly on Friday when it jumped 6% nearly. Netflix is, after its earnings report, had a stellar day, up 28 or 9%. And after testing the 21-day moving average, you can see how this one has broken through a double top. And Netflix has just been stellar since last May, June, with a double bottom in the 160s. How about a double and then some? And now looking like the top of the channel can be tested short term, probably coming in about 360. Then you're looking at 390. Best chart out of all the NASDAQ 100. But Meta is no sham. Look at this recovery. In November, you got down to 88. Here it is, 140. Big move. Actually, 139.94 was the high. Closed. And look at the reverse, engulfing reversal day too. So you had a pullback in the morning. Note the trend line off the low, and also this rising angle at a different angle. We really had a big engulfing bullish reversal day for Meta or Facebook. My next target, 142, and then 149.50. Friday's low is support at 130.30.5. But another strong recovery off the low. Microsoft certainly looks like a basing pattern here. It had a 5-way move, and they came down and tested, bounced as a V-bottom with right-hand extension. Nice day Friday, jumping 851 or about 3.7%. Your support now is 230. Your resistance 242.5. We get through that, looking at 250.52 and then 260.65. Overall, promising pattern. Tesla, after getting whacked, had a big reversal day, a big volume, moved up, platformed, broke out, pulled back and tested the breakout point. And so far, so good. I can't guarantee this is a low in Tesla, but I can say it looks like at least the short-term low is in place, and we can get up to last week's high on Thursday, taking out 136.70. You might see a run that takes you to 145 to 152 zone. And wanted to show you NVIDIA too in the semiconductor group, powerful pattern. NVIDIA has been one of the stronger stocks since the October low when it hit 108, and by mid-December was 188. Only to pull back and do a nice fib retracement, about 50% to test the breakout point there. Some key support held, and it's run up smartly with Friday's gain of 12.10 or 7%, auguring very well for this stock going forward. resistance now 190, and then you're looking at 200. That completes a look at some of the NASDAQ 100 generals, which in general look very good here. One of the reasons I'm more optimistic. Now a look at some of the ETFs. Look at the SMH, maybe leading here. This V bottom and a big reversal, run up, and then a retest of about a 50% retrace. Came on strongly again after pulling back Friday's gain. Took it from 220 to 229. On the day, it was up 3.5%, a big move for that index. The measured move takes me all the way up to at least 245 to 258.60. Those are your next targets for SMH. Augurs well for the market, doesn't it? How about the FAS? Left shoulder, head, right shoulder. Well, it certainly looks like an inverse head and shoulders is forming, but it needs to get up above 89. We're a long way from that. Keep an eye on 75, Friday's low. And then 86, the high for the week, earlier in the week. Those are levels to concentrate on and focus on. Financials, though, look better. That does look like a bottoming pattern. We got to take out resistance, though, in the 90 range, 92 zone. Yeah. And finally, biotechs, which held their own for months while the market was making lower lows. And one of the reasons I'm optimistic about this year and why I gave you the top 20 biotechs this year. Broke out, pulled back, didn't look good, but Friday, look how it held right on that line and near the rising moving averages right in that zone and bounced Friday 2.5%. So it's key that we take that pattern and keep moving up. LABU looks similar. That's a triple. No question, the key is going to be if this thing can get up above 8 3/4, you're looking at 10 1/4 and 12 3/4. My take for what's going on there. So, and now we're going to look at some oil. USO, well, a rally back to the decline top line with a V bottom and right hand extension is promising if we break out. If we we don't, you can come down pretty hard and make much lower lows in oil. After a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave decline, this may be reversing. I'm still negative on oil until I see that, but there are certain stocks you'll be seeing today in the oil sector that still look pretty strong. In the oil and gas area, Boyle absolutely crushed from 123 down to 9 and change. That only took about 6 months. You can see the big volume on Friday was the biggest ever, 42.6 million. We may be reaching a selling climax. On the other side is KOLD, the bear, and that's been ripping just since December 13th when it was trading at 1280. The stock is ripped into the 40s, 46 range. This is almost 300% gain, but call it about 275%. Just since mid-December, that's in a month. Huge move for that ETF. So we're extended and we're not far from resistance, a little bit above it actually. So it's going to be interesting whether this blows off or it halts right here and comes down. Gold, the GDX, and you're going to be seeing a video from me on the precious metal sector very shortly. This, to me, is reversed, bottomed, broke out, and it's trending. Some key resistance just ahead. Should we get to that, looking at 37 and 41. The ultra gold longs, JNUG, broke out, same thing, and it's trending. And if it gets through here, we're looking at 61 and 70. Nugget as well. If I can get Nugget above here, the next target's 52.5, 3. And longer term, 58 and 65. So I'm much more positive on gold. Let's look at silver. AGQ looks the same. Breaks down, wedges, pops out, is now in a beautiful flag formation. And should this get above 33.5, we're looking at 36, 39, and 43. You'll see some of the silver stocks are swing. Pan American silver, for example, has broken out of its base and is on the run. I now have swing targets of 21.5, 24. Wheat and precious metals, even stronger, has gone from 28 and change to 46, nearly 45.5. And you can see how it's still trending. Should it get to that 46 level, we might see 51 and even 57 down the road. So I'm high on silver and gold right now. I'm looking for pullbacks to enter. So right now they're a little bit ahead of themselves, perhaps. Let's go to the charts. We have a lot to talk about. But you know, I love the biotech group, and this is one of the top 20, sorry. ACLX popped, coiled, and then broke out. When I saw that and it flagged, that's when I said it's ready for prime time, I think. You get to this level, you're probably looking at 48.50. My target's at 40 and 48, we'll call it. AEHR has been stellar for us 3 times. Here we put a swing on it, it worked. There we put a swing on it, that worked. Recently, again, this one, a beautiful engulfing reversal day on Friday, moving from 27.5 to 32 and finishing right there, up 432. To me, the top of the channel may be taken out at some point. I'm looking for a stock eventually to get into the 40s. The gold sector, Agnico Eagle is a major gold that is also looking very strong. You can see how it's trending, targeting 61 and 67. AKRO, one of my top 20 biotechs, broke out of a base with a massive gap and then a coil. That's where we put on a swing. That swing worked well, and then I added it to the top 20 for the year, and I think you're going to see 60, 65 range. ALLY, I added this one this weekend because on Friday it had the biggest day of its public career ever. 34.5 million shares, broke it out of the base pattern, double top. Took out secondary resistance as well and finished near the upper end of the range, at the top actually, up a whopping 555 or 21% on 34.5 million shares. I think this extends towards 33.4, 37, 36.7, something like that up there. AMLX is one of my top 20 picks, I believe. If it's not, it should have been. But anyway, bottom line is, no, I don't believe it is actually. But it is one of my favorite biotechs because it's consolidated for 4 months now after a big move and may be ready for the next level, taking it up into the 50s. ANF, a retailer which has taken out its declining top line, lateral price resistance, has filled the gap and now flagging tells me this wants to go higher. Target 34. AOUT, when it broke out, I put a swing on it, then backed off, popped again and pulled back again. On Friday, it popped back again. It looks to me like a big wedge is formed here. And it's nearing the apex. So at some point, this is going to pop and go with a target of 12 3/4. APCX, big day on Friday, and Thursday and Friday, the stock popped from 233 to 473, nearly doubling in 2 days and breaking out of a beautifully formed wedge right there. Measure move tells me we can go with 7. ARDX, another junior biotech looking great. Had a big day Friday as it jumped 41 cents or 15%. 10.7 million traded. My target's 4 and 5 on this one. ARRY in the solar sector with the big inverse head and shoulders. That was a swing. Still maintaining this pattern because it hasn't broken down. But it does need to get back over the weekly high of about 24.5 area. Once you do that, 27 and 33 are targets. ATAT, a recent IPO, which has surged from 11 to 27. Noted it a couple weeks ago when it had a wedge here, a ascending bull coil. It broke out, retested, and ran up. And another good day Friday. I think you reached 32 on this one. ATRO with a monster day on Friday. Literally exploded from 11 to 14.89. Finished 14.60 up 4.26. 41% gain. And the biggest volume I've ever seen in a stock. A breakout day indeed. It's at secondary resistance. Next target is 16.5, followed by 19. The gold sector. One of my favorite golds is Anglo Gold Ashanti, which at one point traded near 40 and pulled all the way back into the 12 range. Broke out. It's in a rising channel and flagging. I think the stock designs on making a run at higher levels. 25 is my near-term target. AUPH, a long decline. So it dropped from the 33.4 zone all the way down to 4. It's ripped subsequently, 9.5, getting near resistance and pulled back. But Friday was a rebound. It looks to me like a stock that wants to go, eventually reaching 12, 13 zone. BLBD, a massive inverse head and shoulder breakout. This is an automotive stock. Through the neckline was key. It got up to resistance and backed off, but let it consolidate a little bit. Next target 21.28. BTAI, another biotech with a long decline, broke out, consolidated, flagged, and it's continuing to move really strongly. Surprised I didn't put this on my top 20. I know it was on my top 30, but I eliminated it for some reason. Nevertheless, it's gone from 10 to 30, tripled. The next target, 36. BWEN, breaking out of a long base pattern with a massive gap, a huge volume, trading 66 million that day, which is unheard of for that stock, and now trending in a rising channel. Next target, 7. BYSI, Beyond Spring just went ballistic, literally going from 55 cents to almost $3, and nearly a 6-fold increase, and then the pullback, a wedge formed. And then it popped out from another one, and it popped out again and got to the high and backed off. But keep an eye on this one over 295. You're looking at 385, 4 3/4, and 6. CABA, one of my top 20 picks. This is, I think, I'm not sure, but look, it's a wonderful biotech. And perhaps because it was so extended, I may not have added it to my list. I don't recall whether it was on it or not, but the bottom line is it went from 59 cents to last week high on Thursday of 11.91. Nearly 20-fold increase. But yet momentum tells me 14 and 20 or better might be targets. CECO, a swing trade that I like for a long-term play, longer-term swing trade. Broke out of an inverse head and shoulder base here. Coiled, popped, flagged, and popped. Little consolidation going on here, but I'm looking for high teens, maybe 1920. CLF in the steel sector, inverse head and shoulder breakout and run up to and through initial resistance tells me 24 and 28 might be targets going forward for this steel stock. Top 20 biotech pick, CPRX. Now that's definitely on my list. It's continued to run and it got up to 22 plus and backed up. But folks, here's the kind of stock I think can keep going. Looking for 25 and 28.9. CTMX. Big base, breakout, breakaway gap, pullback, flag forming. Keep an eye on it. Support at 235, resistance 3. Above that, 3.5 3/4 and 4.5 3/4 are targets. CTSH broke out with a spike. I put a swing on it, but it backed right off. Subsequently held support and it's bounced back again. So this one needs to keep going with targets right now 67, 70, and 74. In the Chinese sector, data has had a 5-way move, but this rising flag is very compelling. I don't think it's done yet. Looks to me like a possibility exists. This could be in the low to mid 20s at some point, but for current target is 18. VMTK, another biotech with a long decline. So I'd go from the 70s down into the single digits, almost $1.50, I think it was. 155 low, subsequently exploded to almost 300% increase and a pullback. Does it look done? If it backs and fills a little more, you might see 7 and 8 and 9. In the oil sector, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-wave advanced, 5th wave's underway with an extension target around 13, 13.5. Very strong and bullish oil and gas related stock. This is a driller. EBON. They got crushed down to 2.5. This is a reverse split stock as well. It then ran from 2.5 into the 11 range. Backed off. It's come on Thursday and Friday again. So it might be doing this. There could be a rising channel underway here. Something to watch, because I think if it extends, you're going to see 13. EDAP, very strong rising channel underway after breaking out of a base pattern. Another medical biotech related stock that looks strong. Target 13.5. EDU is a tech trader swing. When it broke out there, I put a swing on it. It ran up and backed up and came on again, making a new high on Friday at 47.5, up about 15 points from where we gave it to you and near the target as well. So it might need to back up, but momentum could carry this into the mid 50s. Another junior gold EGO breaks out of an inverse head and shoulders, pops the resistance and then breaks through it. I have extension targets at 10.5 and eventually 12.25. EHTH broke out. We put a swing on it, then consolidated and both broke out and reached my target, getting up to 7 and then backed off. If it holds here, your next target is 9.5. EOLS, another biotech drug manufacturer with a falling wedge, breakout, rising wedge, breakthrough resistance, and tag the first target at 11. Your next target is 14. EPOW, an exceptional day on Friday. Not a lot of volume, but it broke across this consolidation range and the 50 for the first time in about 4 weeks. So I'm now looking for a move that takes it to 4.5, 5, and 6.25, 7. Let's see if there's a follow through on this one. Keep an eye on it. ETNB, another biotech with a fantastic chart. I wanted to show it to you. It continues momentum, and if it does, target 18 and 21. EXAS breaks out of a inverse head and shoulders or bottoming type pattern after a long decline. Stair stepping its way higher. It's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave move already, so careful. But after consolidating, your next target is 75. FCX in the copper realm popped out. We put a swing on it. It's been moving great ever since the 33.4 zone where we gave it to you. It's reached mid 40s. Current target now I have about 48, 49. FDMT is another one of those biotechs that exploded. Has been consolidating. I think it's setting up for a move back to 25, 29, and mid 30s. FGEN, another biotech with a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and a little flag. Don't think this one's done either. It might accelerate. 23 and 28 are targets. Frequency Therapeutics, a coiling-based pattern with a breakout, a wedge, and a pop to resistance. Follow through targets might be 7 and 8. First Solar, the leader in the solar group with a major breakaway gap last July, took it from high 60s, 185, nearly tripling, and a 1, 2, 3, 4, and fifth wave might be a 1, 2. I think 3, 4, and 5 are due to get this to over 200. GAN, gaming stock, which got crushed from the 32 zone all the way down to single digits at 1.25. Double bottom there and broke out. I put a swing on it. On Friday, it had big blocks crossing, but it held support. Just keep an eye on this one. I want to see it hold 180. More importantly, over 215, I'm looking up at 3 and 450. GDS, I believe Chinese play in the information technology group, but the bottom of the right-hand extension breakout. We put a swing on it. It then flagged and popped, and now wedging again. I'm targeting 31 and 34. GDX, it's the gold stock ETF we showed you earlier. GDXJ, by the way, is a junior one, very similar. I feel like junior golds. GNS, just had to show you this, folks. Now, I don't advocate buying any stock that goes from 33 cents to $5, $5.45 in a week. Certainly overextended, but it did back way off the high and closed at 3.25. Nevertheless, let's see if it consolidates and sets up a move that could take it to 11, 12. Barrick in the gold sector, nice base breakout and pullback. Looking for 21.5 and eventually 25. Chinese stock GOTO, 65 cents, explodes to 4.25, pulls back and now is a rising wedge. This is a pretty powerful chart. I don't know how far I can go, but I think my target would be 5.5 and 7. HCM in the Chinese biotech sector, a beautiful rising channel and a current wedge. Shows the possibility that if it extends, we'll see 21, 2, maybe 25. Hudson has been on my list for a year, and you can see that it's gone from literally 33 cents to $12, and it's pulled back. If it gets through that zone, I'll be looking for 15. HIMX, left shoulder, head, right shoulder, and starting to move up near resistance. This is a tech trader swing. I believe it's ready to make a big move, and if it does, 9, 10 zone, 11, 12 zone. HLIT, while the market was getting hammered, the stock continued to hold beautifully and then popped. Although it did back off Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, it's at a little bit of support here at this gap near the 50-day moving average. What I'm going to need in this one is a move over 15.5 to get it going, then 17 and 20 are targets. New swing Howell, which popped and wedged and then started to break out. So we gave you, I think, at 394 on Friday a buy. He closed at 440. After reaching 457 at resistance. So if it does extend 5.25 and then 7 or better, might be targets, but it's got momentum. HROW, one of my top 20 picks for the year. You can see the pop out and the current little pennant. On Friday, it might have popped out again. We'll see. But my target is 17.5 and 21 going forward. Huya, another Chinese stock with a fantastic chart. Multiple waves up, currently consolidating here. We get through this level, 7 is your target. Gold stock IAG, a junior gold that you might like, is moved from a September low of 92 cents to get up to nearly 282 actually. But you can see the flag that's developing right here. Break out of that flag, we're looking for 3 3/4 and 4 1/4. IMVT exploded in October and had a rising channel ever since. It looked gorgeous. It's a top 20 pick, looking for 25 or better. IQ, another Chinese play, beautiful multiple rising pattern, consolidating in this zone. Now that's the danger of these Chinese stocks because that Chinese move could be over. And if it does, just keep stops under this week's lows on these stocks and you're fine. IQ under 5. If it does extend, $8 is your target. KDNY is another top 20 pick for the year, and you can see why. Fabulous chart. Long base, breakout, retest, wedge, and pop again. And that Friday it jumped 211 or 8%. My target now 33.34. With nat gas sharply lower and the boil getting slammed, you can see the KOLD as well making a new high here. Hard to trust it because it's up so much. It's literally gone from 10 to 45, folks. So and it's only done it in less than 2 months. So careful here. LASC explodes and flags. Any move on this one above 436? I would look for 5 1/4, 6.5. LI in the Chinese automotive sector is forming a coil. It's a tech trader swing as well, but it really needs to get above 2440 to really get going. If so, 27 and 31 are targets. Bitcoin rebounding, you can see MARA, which got crushed into the 3 range, literally from in the 80s at one point. Take a look at that. 83.45, November 21, a year and 4 months later. 311, but from 311, it's spiked and run and got up to almost 9, nearly tripling. The pullback during midweek and then it rallied Thursday, Friday, had me thinking that if it, as long as it holds 6.5, that's where my stop would be. My targets are going to be 10, 12, and 13. Macrogenics, a tech trader swing, has been in a consolidation for a couple of months now after breaking out. I still like it overall, but it's in a drift mode. It needs to hold Thursday's low, 4 3/4. Your targets are 6.5 and 7 3/4. Gaming stock, Melco Resorts exploded, flag popped, and is flagging again. Very strong technical pattern. If it goes 17.5, 18, and then 22, 23 are targets. Specialty retail stock, MNSO, with a long decline, broke out with a breakaway gap and big volume, and then pulled back a falling wedge. When that held, it popped and coiled again, and then it broke out again. My target was 17. I'll maintain that and see where it goes after that. Momo breaks out of a base here and pops to resistance there. You can see the current action is right at resistance, but any move to 1095.11 range, 14 is your target. Newmont Mining is another major gold play that's V-bottomed, platform, and broke out. I would look for a move into the low to mid 60s on this one. NEOG, long decline after a big run up. This stock split, not reverse, regular split. V-bottom, platform, notice how it held at 50, broke out, broke through. They got a target of 23.4 zone. NEON, big move, coil, says a pop flag, an explosive move, a pullback spike. And there's a stock that's gone from 5 to 15 in literally a week and a half. Be careful, but this strong momentum, if it holds Friday's low, and we can put a stop under, say 10 3/4. If it gets to 15, you're looking at 17 and 20. NINE, this junior oil, it continues to push higher. and now has a target of 18 and 24. Stop would be under 11.5. NIU, another tech trader swing, broke out here. We put a swing on it, ran to target number 1, pulled back, and broke out slightly there, but couldn't follow through and backed off in a 3-wave corrective. But so far it's holding lateral price resistance and a trend line. Friday was a nice pop of 9%. Let's see if it follows through. Your current targets are 6.25 and 7.5. OM was a tech trader swing that when it popped and pulled back and started to go right there. So from about 18, 19 zone, it's gone to 29, 28, 85. Anyway, my current follow through targets are 30, 33, and 36. ORIC is a top 20 pick. It's also a current tech trader swing. It's a beautiful rising channel. Friday was a good day for it, jumping 56 cents or 9%. My target's now 7.5, 8.5, and 9.5. PACB, nice recovery. After spiking up and really strong run September through November, we saw it go from 5.25 to 11, 12.37, 150% run up in a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave advance. You see the orderly retrace. It broke out again and it popped the resistance before backing off. I got a feeling you're going to see this make a big move. 14 and 17 targets. Puma, beautiful little inverse head and shoulder breakout, and now flagging, consolidating in a wedge type pattern. Needs to take out 5.15, then you target 6.75. PDSP breaks out with a breakaway gap, forms a rising wedge, and pops. But then the falling wedge has it now back near support. Careful on this one. It is a top 20 pick, but I need it to hold it here. Longer term targets to 13 and 17. Perion's one of my favorite picks of the year. We've had 2 swings on it. It's currently looking fantastic. Friday was another good day for it, up $1.25 or 4.3%. And if you can get the pattern to extend, we might see 31, 33 or more. I'm eventually looking for a stock that could make it into the low to mid 40s. PI impinge broke out and flagged. We put a swing on it. It then went from about 108 to 128, pull back down, and then this week it broke out to 137. Still like the look of it for higher levels, 145.50. Poet, break base pattern, explosive move, pull back, retracement 0.375, and then another explosive move that saw go from 4 to 6.25 before backing off yet again. But that kind of a move with that kind of volume might see higher level $7 target. PSTX, beautiful long-term rising channel since last June, from under $2 to nearly 8. It's at resistance here, so it might back off, but very strong technical strength and relative strength, I should say, targeting 10. AAPL, beautiful inverse head and shoulder, breakaway move, and a flag. This is a tech trader top 20 pick for the year, biotech pick. Once he gets above the 30 range, 28.5, 3/4. I'm looking for mid 30s. Top 20 pick Ryvant broke out of a base and flag, popped again and retested twice, and then got to the top of the channel and backed off. But I'm looking for 12. RPAY. Beautiful spike down reversal. Breakaway get back breakaway gap on record volume, and then a platform including a coil. Broke out of that, and it's retesting, but on Friday popped out. Now looking for a move to 11. RVPH, pop, falling wedge, a nice surge, and another wedge of sorts or coil. But this one needs to get up over 460 to get going. If so, targets 5.75, 6, and 8.75, 9. Rhythm, one of our top picks, was a tech trader swing in the 5.5, 3/4 range, and ran into 32, so 31, right? And then pulled back. Recently hit another new high at 34.99. I don't think it's done yet. Looking for 40 and then 45. SIL-SLV, SIL-SLV has gone vertical. I just wanted to show it to you. I'm not advocating it, but a move from 290 to 1169 in 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks. Pretty phenomenal momentum. Overextended? Indeed it is. Be careful. Seed, really strong recovery and nearly doubled it from 6 to 1066. Got up to resistance and backed off. Lower volume on a pullback. I like the look of this stock. I think it goes much higher. 12, 14, 17, 20, whatever. This is a personal position of mine as well. SIL and Silver Group, wanted to show you that ETF, very strong. SLB is another. Silver, gold, and precious metals look good. These will all be part of a new video I'm going to be putting out shortly. SMMT, Tech Trader Swing, fabulous pop pullback, and then stair step its way higher. But look at this channel. I'm looking for 7.5, 8 on this stock at some point. SOS, well, after a big decline, it blew through and pulled back only to reverse again on Friday. Very strong momentum, and I think $10 is your target. SPRB, in the biotech sector with an explosive move. Looks to me like a stock that wants to run even further. It's a top pick of mine, and this wedge tells me it may pop and go. 3.5, 4.5, and 5 3/4 are targets. STIM is the top 20 pick for the year. You can see the beautiful base breakout and platform. Should this get above 6 3/4, I'm looking for 9 and 12. TAL in the educational group for China broke out of the base. This is a former swing of mine from here in about the 4 range. It's eventually made it up to 10.45. Now wedging doesn't look done, does it? 11 and 15 are targets. TBLA is a top 20 pick. It popped it, or I know it's a swing trade, but it looks fantastic. Flag, pop, and breakout on Friday. Near-term targets 4 1/4, then 5. TDW, strong stock in the oil sector as well. Tidewater. Long-term chart shows a breakout of a 5-year base. Could see much higher levels. Current target 50 and 55. PERN is the top 20 picks. You can see why it popped, flag, pop, consolidated, and broke out. Currently wedging. I'm looking for stock to break out and go to 10 3/4, 12.5, and eventually high teens. Technoglass broke out and put a tech trader swing on it. It backed and filled it, but it's worked its way higher. Friday was a good day for it as it rebounded 5%, but it has to get back above 34.5 to get it going. Target 40, 41. KGTX, beautiful base pattern breakout flag and pop again. Has pulled back for, I think, an entry out because I think it goes higher. 15 and 20 are targets for TGTX. TH in the oil services group with a 1, 2, 3, 4. It looks like it started wave 5 with a 1, 2, 3. I don't know how far it goes, but my minimum target is 20, possibly mid-20s. Another beautiful biotech-related stock, medical device company. TMDX went from 10.5 to 65 in the less than a year, but I don't think it's done yet, and I'm now looking for 75 and 85. TRMD in the oil sector has had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waves up, and now it's consolidating, so it's less reliable. But any move on this one through 31.5 might get you mid to high 30s. UAA, apparel manufacturer Under Armour, broke out, retested, and popped again on Friday. Gap fill now gets me to 13.5 3/4, maybe 14. UCL with an explosive move. So this go from 46 cents to almost $5, a 10-fold increase. And then it took 6 weeks to consolidate. But boy, is it broken out again. Keep an eye on this one going forward. $5, I'm looking for 7 and 8.5. UMC with a beautiful left shoulder, head, right shoulder inverse pattern at the neckline. Should it get through here? My target's in the 9, 9.5 zone. If you're interested in a junior gold that you never heard of, it US Gold Corp, USAU, with a rounding bottom, breakout in a little pennant, tells me if gold goes, we're looking at a $6, $7, $8 stock. VITL, farm products company, Vital Farms, broke out and really took off last week. I had a target at 19, my next target is 22. VKTX in the biotech sector with an explosive move and a beautiful pennant. We get through here, we're looking at 11, 13, 14. Viridian is one of my top 20 picks for the year. You can see why, powerful move. I'm not sure it's done. I'm looking for mid-40s. Verona, very similar. Consolidating in this zone, looking for mid-30s. Waterford's been in a fantastic rising channel. This oil and gas equipment services company has gone from 17 to 58 almost, and the channel top target right now has me thinking this could be 65 before it's over. WVE is the top 20 pick. It's one of the cheapest ones in the group. It did pull back recently from 6 up from 7 back into the 4 handle, so it might be interesting down here. Your next target is 8 and 10. Zyme, which is a top 20 pick, and you can see the breakout pullback and pop again, is I think headed for 13 and 18 eventually. That's a terrific looking chart. It's also a swing. And finally, Zixi, which is a top 20 pick and a swing, which we first gave you in the 7 range, has more than doubled, got up to actually 17 and change. It's pulled back recently, but it's right on support. Next target is 19 to 22. Let's now look at some boxes shorts. There aren't too many, but I did want to cover them. Didn't spend a lot of time on my shorts this weekend, but if you're interested, at least give you a look at some of the old ones and where they might stand at this point. BILL still has not responded to the market rally, and should it break down here, you can see a lot of room to drop on that one. CDNA did bounce, but still within a declining channel, has not broken out yet. Keep an eye on resistance at around 15. Carvana did snap back hard and then pull back again. If and only if Carvana gets back above 8.5, would I be interested in this stock for something in the low to mid-teens. Unfortunately, DINO coming down hard and forming a wedge was put on my swing short list, but it broke back out and should be covered here. Now, it might get up in that range and fail, so keep an eye on that one Monday, Tuesday. ESTC, even though that bounced on Friday, remains in an ugly downtrend. LRN looks quite ugly and barely bouncing. What I'd like to see, if you're going to go short, is under 30. This stock could get whacked for 5 points. An ET very similar to Bill. It's looking like here's Bill. And then you can see how a 1, 2, 3 wave correction followed by a wave 4 and then this. Should this one crack 36, you got a long way to drop into mid and low 20s. Overstock, not really responding like some of the other Bitcoin stocks, but it did bounce. I'd be careful on this one above 23, 24. I'd have to stop it. PANW looked like it was breaking down, but it rallied right back. It's just too strong a company at this point. I may take it off my list. Robert Half certainly was a good short for us. But you can see now it's breaking through the declining tops line and above the moving averages. It's a bit risky here. 85 is resistance. SNOW popped on Friday, 9.5 points or 7%, but remains below resistance. Should it pop above 145, I'd be out of it. Well, I'm sorry, 148.9. Tandem still looks ugly, but it is bouncing. It's below its, this is a very ugly chart considering the market bounce, very, very little bounce on it. The weaker stocks in a strong market tend to be good shorts. Watch this one for a rollover and a retest in mid-30s. PREX broke out of its declining top line and may be ready to make a move, so keep an eye on this one and stop over 52.3. The TEC similarly came down hard and really had a nasty decline, but bounced, retested, and now may have broken out on Friday with a pop here over 49.5. Let's see if that one extends. You may want to cover that one too. TTGT broke back out and is back near resistance. Any further upside, and you'd have to cover this one over 49.5, 50. Pretty close to being broken out. And Upwork really started to rally nicely. It's at resistance here. It needs to get going above 13. VTLE did pop. That formerly was Laredo Petroleum, I believe. You can see the way this one popped. Didn't quite take out resistance yet, but that was a strong enough move on Friday to warrant potentially covering if it takes out the moving average and trend line up in the 56 zone. WRLD also rallied back to the trend line, but it's still below resistance, although the moving average may be crossing over here. It's something to consider covering as well. Zoom video, wow. I mean, virtually no reaction to the market rally, which is concerning. So until it rallies back above, say 72, just for starters, it can remain short that one. Zscaler is trying to bounce as well at resistance. Cover if it gets over 120. And that is it for me, folks. I'll look at all the longs, the shorts, the ETFs, indices, and technicals. It should get you prepared for next week. Let's have a good one, folks. This was a good week of trading, I believe. I hope many of you did well. Next week should be volatile, to say the least, but it could be a good one. For now, this is HB out. I'll talk to you later. Have a good weekend.